This training is to teach Toastmasters International members how to use Basecamp. First, we'll look at what is Pathways compared to what is Basecamp. Pathways is the educational system of Toastmasters. It provides a development path for members to increase their communication and their leadership skills. It also provides guidance and objectives for speeches via paths and projects, and there are 11 paths allowed for different people's varied communication and leadership development. Basecamp, on the other hand, is the IT system that we use to access Pathways. This is something that all members should be accessing to complete their projects, to complete their levels, and to get credit for their speeches. So you're a new member and you're choosing a path, or maybe you're an experienced member. The first thing you need to do is choose a path in Pathways to be able to access Basecamp. We do this through the Toastmasters International website, www.toastmasters.org. You can either directly log in, or you can try to go to Basecamp and it will prompt you to log in. So we'll do it that way first. So click on the top menu Pathways and click Go to Basecamp, and you'll be prompted to log in. Every member of Toastmasters International has a Toastmasters International account. The ID is normally your email address, and you'll have a password set for you, which you can change once in there. And you'll have got this from when you first joined Toastmasters. If you've forgotten your password, there is a link at the bottom saying Forgot Password. So you've logged into Pathways and you've gone to choose a path. We normally start off by taking an assessment. If you go to toastmasters.org and then Pathways, there is a place to take the assessment. This is done through a pop quiz. So you answer a bunch of questions on what your goals are, what your needs, and what you want to learn from Toastmasters. And it will give you 3 suggested paths. In this example, that's visionary communication, presentation mastery, and innovative planning. You can either click Choose this path, or you can click below on additional paths, and this allows you to select anything. So for example, if you wanted to do leadership development, you would click additional paths and you can choose leadership development. So you've got a path and you want to start doing your speeches. You've probably just booked in your icebreaker with your VPA. Basecamp projects will provide information for that speech, so it's really important to be able to find them on Basecamp. So we go to the Toastmasters website, click Pathways and go to Basecamp, and it will bring you to this page. If you're a member of multiple clubs, you can select which club you're in. And this is important when you're completing a level because the credit will go to the club that you've logged in through. If you're a president, VP or secretary, you'll be able to access the login as a Basecamp manager button. There is a separate training for that, so go onto YouTube and search for Tanya Barad and you'll find a Basecamp manager training. For the majority of people, and what we're going to do today, you click Login as a member. A pop-up will open and you'll have the page of Basecamp. This has recently been renovated. All the functionalities are the same, it just looks a bit prettier. Now there's a lot you can do from this page, but my personal preference is to go to the Paths and Learning and click the Open Curriculum. If you do open the educational transcript, it will just take a few more clicks to get to your projects. So my preference is this Open Curriculum. And you're in your learning area. If you have any problems with this, please show the VPE a snapshot of this page, because this is where you do all the information about your speeches. On the left-hand side, you'll see the different levels, and you can now access all of the levels, even if you haven't got to it. So if you're in level 3, you can open up level 4 for forwards planning. You'll see a pie chart at the top, which will show you how far through your overall path you are. A little bar chart here, which shows you how far through your level you are. And then here it shows you how many projects you completed, how many you have to complete, and how many there are altogether. For level 1, that's pretty simple. You have to complete all 4 projects, but when you get to something like level 3, you have 1 mandatory project and you do 2 out of, I think, 13 electives. So the total items will be 14. The minimum required will be 3. To get to your speech, you press the launch button. Once it says launch, that means you can access it. So you've just booked in your first speech. You've probably said to your VP, can I do my icebreaker? And your VP will say, yep, great, go onto Basecamp and prepare your speech. How do you do that? That's what we're going to look at in this section. So you go to your speeches page, and as we mentioned before, you launch the project. The first page will always have navigation. You have left and right arrows on each side to go between pages. Some pages might have multiple questions, multiple information, or multiple pictures, and you'll see little dots at the bottom, and you can press back and next to go through them. There's also a drop-down box at the bottom, which allows you to skip directly to any section. You'll see all speeches have a navigation, introduction, assignments, and assess your skills beforehand. This is really useful to be able to see if and how much you have developed by doing this speech. The middle section contains specific information for that speech. It might show you on your icebreaker how to structure a speech, or in some of the later speeches, inspirational speaking, it'll teach you what kind of communication skills help build that inspiration. So you really want to focus on these areas, read the text, watch the videos to be able to get those skills. And then at the end, you will have complete your assignment, your evaluation, and assess your skills after. And the assess your skills after allows you to do that direct comparison against the before skills. Now, some really helpful pages are at the end. On complete your assignment, there's a project checklist, and this allows you to open it up and see what has to be completed to do this project. Then on the next tab, you have your evaluation tab. Here you have the evaluation resource, which you can print off and give to your evaluator. Print My Project, which allows you to create a PDF so you can save or print this off. And then the outline worksheet, which helps guide you through making your speech, whether it is right down the beginning, middle, end, what 3 points do you want to focus on. It's a nice worksheet to support that structuring your speech. So now you've given that speech at your club. Your Basecamp manager or your VP will say, go onto Basecamp and complete it. This is something which people do get stuck on quite a lot, so I'm going to spend a bit of time explaining how to finish a project in Basecamp. Again, we start off at the projects page. Press launch and open up the project. You want to use the drop-down box at the bottom and then go to the assess your skills after. To complete a project, you have to assess your skills and submit it, else the system won't allow you to complete it. What you'll see is a bunch of questions, and you just rate them from 1 to 5. There are actually multiple questions, and you'll see again for the little bar at the bottom, so make sure to use the back and next buttons to go through and answer every single question. Once you've rated each question, press the submit. If you don't press submit, then it won't complete your project. Once you've completed it, you'll see this feedback page. It will show you how you felt before the speech and how you did after. So as you can see, I massively benefited from this particular speech. But this feedback shows you that you've correctly submitted your answers. Click the right-hand arrow and it will say, congratulations, you've completed your speech. And in the background, the project page will update. There's quite a few things you'll see here. Firstly, this project now has a tick in it in the right-hand corner. If there's any projects dependent on this, so for example, you can't do projects 2 and 3 until you've completed your icebreaker, you'll see that these are now available to be activated. The path progress will update, and so will the level project. So you can see I've completed 1 item here. Importantly, the launch button will change from the evaluate button. And we'll have a look at what that evaluate button means. So this evaluate button is not an evaluation that you'd get in the club or linked to the speaker's evaluation. It's the evaluation of the Pathways project to Toastmasters. It's really important that we fill these in so that Toastmasters International can take that feedback on board and adapt pathways to best suit its members. If they don't know the feedback, they can't improve it. So you'll get a pop-up that looks like this, evaluation icebreaker, and the same 4 questions are asked on every single project. Did this project provide valuable information? Was the assignment supported for learning in this project? Did the tone and content of this project, are they appropriate for my Toastmasters Club? And is the amount of time required to complete all the steps of that project appropriate for this project level? For the icebreaker, this is quite self-explanatory, but as you get to later levels, and potentially, for example, level 4, it can take up to 6 months to complete a project as you're building those leadership skills. So quite often these answers will vary as you go further through your path. Now, just to simplify that whole process, let's look at all the steps of finishing a project. You open it in the projects page. You complete the assess your skills after and remember to submit. And then you complete the evaluate. It's actually only 3 simple steps. So you've finished your icebreaker. You've done project 2 for evaluation. You've done project 3 for research. And you've finally completed your level. And again, your VPE will turn around and say, oh, go into Basecamp and finish your level. Again, it's very simple once you know how. So we're going to look at how to finish that level. What you want to do is have a level which is almost completed. Everything says evaluate. Everything has little ticks. And then the level completion of the bottom will now say activate. It's this bottom project which allows you to submit your level for approval so that your Basecamp manager can approve that. So this is what it will look like once all of the projects are completed. And quite simply, you keep pressing the red button. So at the moment, it says activate. When you press the activate button, it changes the status to registered and allows you to launch it. So you click it again. Now the status is in progress. So you click mark as complete. And finally, the status goes to pending completion approval. At this point, your Basecamp manager, so the president, BPE or secretary, will have received an email saying that you have submitted your level for approval. Now, depending on whether or not this is a mistake or whether or not it is actually ready to be approved, they will go into Basecamp manager and change this. So essentially, you keep clicking the button 3 times until the level completion says pending completion approval. Once your Basecamp manager has accepted your approval, you then go into it and it will say status completed, the level will show as completed, and then the next phase will be activated. So those are all the day-to-day functions that you use Basecamp for. Reviewing the information in each project, completing the project, and completing the level. But Basecamp does have a few other additional functionalities, which I'll go through now. The first is PDF printing a project. If you have somebody in your club who's not very IT literate, or maybe you have a bad internet connection, it can be useful to save a PDF for project, maybe an icebreaker so that you can send it out to members, or maybe you want to print a project because you just like working with paper. And my recommendation would be not to print it out, just because a lot of these projects are about 20-30 pages long, and you also don't get the video capability if you PDF or print it. But for those that want to do it, this is how. You open the project from a projects page, go to the tab Your Evaluation and print the project, and this will open up a PDF. In the top right hand corner of the PDF, you can either save it as a PDF, and it will also include all of your evaluation sheets, your downloadable project checklists, or you can press print. So very simple, open the project, print the project, save the PDF. The next thing is the evaluation sheets. Now, there's actually two ways of getting this, both through Basecamp. And this is really useful either A, to bring to your evaluator when you're doing a speech, or if you are an evaluator, you can get these up if the person doesn't have them available. Maybe they don't have access to a printer. So again, we start with opening the project from the project page. And either you can go open the project and go to the Your Evaluation tab and press Print Project. Or on the front page of Basecamp, you can go to the box called Speech Evaluations. It will have all of the available speeches. You just pick the speech and it will print it. And then you will have access to the evaluation form. Again, these are normally 4 to 5 pages each, so do be careful when printing lots and lots out, but they are editable as an online form. And the last thing you might want to do is get your certificate when you completed the level. Completing a level in Pathways is a really big thing to celebrate, so it's really useful to be able to print off a project and say, look what I've done. So firstly, complete the level. You'll see this because everything turns blue and the level will say 100%. What you'll also notice is the level completion is completed and there's a button saying View Certificate. Once you click on this, that certificate will open up and be available to print off, to save, to do whatever you want. And that will be available on every level of every path that you've completed. Next, we'll have a look at your Basecamp profile. As with any IT system, because you log in as a specific member, there is a profile for you. Now, to get to this, you'll see there's a very small grey and white person in the top right-hand corner. Click on that. What it will bring up is a whole range of things. You have the profile where you can change your name, your email address. You have the feedback page, the paths and learning, and the e-portfolio, so you can see what badges you have, what projects you've done. Now, I think the feedback is actually really useful. When you click on it, it will allow you to select any member of your club and request feedback from them. So maybe you didn't get to speak to somebody after a meeting, but you really do value their specific feedback, and maybe they're your mentor. You can go in, it will drop them a message saying, Tanya has requested feedback back from you. The other thing you can do on Basecamp is record the first time you did a role, and this can be really nice to do, especially to make sure that you've actually done all of the roles. So you go to My Settings, My Account in the top right-hand corner. So the little cog picture, and then click on My Account. And what it will bring up is your account page. And what you'll see is that as you scroll down, it will have literally a drop-down box for each of the different roles. You can go in and say, I did our count on this day, I did general evaluator this day, I haven't done Toastmaster of the evening, maybe I can request that for my VPE. So it's a really nice tracking tool. The very final thing I want to mention about Basecamp for members is the Navigator. The Navigator is an online system, or it's an online tool used to provide the basic information of Toastmasters for things that don't really fall into a project. So how to do each individual role, club etiquette. I said it contains meeting role information, pathways information, information about how to do an evaluation, what contests are and what the different committee roles are. So you get an all-round good understanding of the club rather than just for speeches. Two ways you can access this, either via Basecamp or via the Toastmasters International website, and it's your personal preference. So firstly, we'll look at how to get to it from Basecamp. When you log into the Basecamp homepage, it should come up available, the Navigator. If not, there is a search bar, and you launch this and the information about the Navigator will become available. The other option is the Toastmasters International website, so www.toastmasters.org. When you go to Pathways, you'll notice on the right-hand side there is a button called the Navigator. If you click that, it will take you to the internet page about the Navigator. Now, there's so much information on this page, I'm not able to get it on all on a slide. What you'll find is you've got different buttons. So welcome to Toastmasters, your Toastmasters Club, speech and evaluations. If you click on one of these, for example, your Toastmasters Club, you'll get a pop-up saying, how with frequently asked questions, how can I participate in the meeting? And I would recommend for any new member, or even any stagnant member, people who've been going through it all, to go through and have that good rounding of being a club member. And as you go down, you can see the basic information, not only of how to do each roles, but what will you develop by doing these roles? How will being a speaker help you develop? How will being the timekeeper help you develop? So again, as we no longer have a competent leadership manual, this is a great way to find all that information out. And that is how you use Basecamp. Basecamp overall is a good way to have a profile, track what roles you've done, and most importantly, get access to those speeches to get the information and to also submit your level requests.